So now we're going to hear another perspective from the meditators and the chanter, and it's quite often you hear from him. And again today, and he will share with us the perspective from his own experience as a meditator and as a chanter. So let us welcome Mr. Chao Cho to speak on the perspective about peace.
So, Venerable Sirs, friends, particularly welcome to those from the many other traditions who kindly agreed to come along today. First of all, can I start by saying a very big thank you on behalf of all of the chanting group for kindly inviting us here, both for today's forum and for the day of chanting and other things yesterday. We certainly greatly appreciate this this opportunity to come and share with you what we've been taught by Acharya in the UK, and it's a great pleasure to be here. Noticing that it's 2017, I'm reminded that it's actually 20 years since Jakun Lao first started to teach us chanting, and I have to say that whenever he invites us to come on a chanting trip, we never quite know what to expect. Always something a bit unusual, something a bit different. And since the theme of today is peacefulness, I'm reminded of something quite unpeaceful from the first trip that we went on with Jakun. He took us to Thailand in 2005. And by that stage, he knew us quite well, so he knew that, like good British people, we were a bit sort of stiff and a bit, maybe a bit formal at times, you know. So he took great pleasure in putting us in slightly embarrassing situations, which were quite unpeaceful. I'm sure it was very good practice for us. So he used to like to take us to, for example, some of the big temples, which were also big tourist resort. And then suddenly we would be walking around and he said, okay, so here we sit down, and so please start to chant. And so all these tourists were walking past and looking, what are these strange people doing? And we had to chant away. Yes, as I said, not very peaceful at all. But anyway, that was a very good chance for us to practice something and to maybe to let go of some of our customary habits and so on. And then there was another occasion on that same tour, which also comes to mind, which was right at the very end. We went to chant at a hotel in Phuket, where a year before the tsunami had come and the hotel had been very badly damaged and many people had been killed. And they invited us, but also particularly the group of monks, to come to chant at the hotel because they were just about to reopen. And we did some chanting, but the principal chanting was by Achan and by another group of very experienced chanting monks. And it was a very remarkable occasion, I have to say. But I suppose what it brought home to us very strongly was that the chanting that we practice is not just something that we do on special occasions or something like that, but it's something very real that can actually change a situation. So in this case, it actually helped to bring some stillness and rest to a place where there'd been a lot of suffering. So it was a very useful reminder that all parts of the practice are things that can actually change a situation and help to bring about peacefulness. Whether that's peacefulness between peoples, between something from nature or whatever it is. That if we engage in it fully, that it has a very real effect on the world around us and on other people. And actually the other thing about that tour was the way that we were looked after so generously and so kindly by the Thai people. Most of us had never been to Thailand. It was all very strange for us. And I'm sure it was for them too. They'd never, a lot of them who we met had never met people from Britain who were these strange people. And but it worked very well. So why did it work well? It worked well because everybody was so full of generosity and friendliness. And from our point of view, because we were welcomed so strongly, it was very easy to respond in the same sort of way. But actually, if we look at the teaching of the Buddha, these qualities are right at the heart of what the Buddha teaches. So we may think that little things like those daily personal interactions are quite simple things. We may ask, well, what has this got to do with some big idea about peace in the world? But actually, this surely is the root of that whole process of creating peacefulness in the world. It's those simple daily qualities that we exchange with each other. And it was a very good example for all of us, I think, about how if you find yourself in a situation, this is the best place to start from, and if you work from there, you can manage, you can get through all sorts of unusual and strange experiences, and it's fine, everything is fine. So, and also these are, if we look at these very simple characteristics, they're not something, there's nothing particularly Buddhist. They may find expression through a Buddhist form for those of us who are following that path, but I'm sure our friends from other traditions will find similar corresponding characteristics in their own tradition, in their own faiths, where they also can make manifest these same qualities through their own particular forms. So anyway, just to say thank you very much once again for inviting us and for a chance for joining in your forum today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chan Shaw, for sharing his experience. And he basically a chanter and meditator. He has been practicing meditation for many years. He has been to Thailand for the chanting tour as a remember two times. And recently, and we also went to do the chanting in Europe. And this is the first time that a group of chanters from England came here to do the chanting at the Buddhavihara temple in Amsterdam.